goody, was good, was good. Peace to all the magicians out there. It's your man Xyenz Fyxion. And talking about put up a sci-fi logo. Xyenz Fyxion doesn't have a logo. He's one man, but he's part of a larger organization known as BLK MAG LAB. Thanks for everybody coming and joining and checking me out. I'm trying to make sure that everything's running smoothly. So if you can, let me know if you're hearing things funny or if everything's cool, just let me know that as well. So got a couple questions. Y'all were there earlier. Dirt said, what you working with? Because we're hardware gang. And I know Frank asked, like, how's the setup coming? I'm gonna make my face big. How's that? Y'all can see me. So I really wanted to just show it off and kind of talk about it instead of typing, because I'd end up wanting to say more than I would feel comfortable doing typing. So I don't know if I really want to dive into anything else first except for just looking at the links. Let you know what I thought worked best for me. I did research them and kind of go in one direction with Nave more heavily than others. I thought I didn't want something over the top. Didn't feel like everybody was using Nave, so this is no endorsement. I'm not getting paid to talk about what I got. But after reading through countless pages, spending lots of time on the forums online, forums are still a thing, which is interesting. But instead of talking, I was just reading and then went with what looked like it would work for me. I was to press this magic button here. Yeah. So pay no mind to this bus comp. Pay no mind to, or all my sounds are running through everything. So what we're going to be talking about, 500 series, this is basically my stereo setup. 2 preamps. This has a tape sim. You have 542's preamp right there. This is the compressor unit I like to use right after the preamp, right? So I'm trying to do a little bit of work here and then also a little more compression with the button, but I'm not sure how to link it, and I had to match the preamps anyway because these are all single channel. There's mono, left, and then this is a stereo EQ, which you're familiar with, you know, SSL. I don't think I liked I didn't want to use a stereo, excuse me, I didn't want to use mono EQ because you can get some serious phase issues if there's any deviation from the left to right. I was like, nah, let me not do that. And let me know again, I'm not sure if you can hear me because I'm leaning away from the mic. Pause. So I ran the EQ sound straight into this big SPL big here. Another bald brother, CMP, was definitely showing how dope this was, and I was like, give me that. I don't buy things just because other people are using them, but I do buy them if they make sense. So this will spread your sound, no pause, and you can choose to, use just, let's say this is a high pass filter, right? So you can just use this on the higher frequencies. There's a little bit of a bass boost. Basically the voice of God, if you're familiar with that plugin, right? This is specifically for my sub 37. So that's just why that mono channel is there. And I never got around to ordering another faceplate to put in there. I thought I might get another channel, but I did not. So I'm just gonna leave that right there so the dust does not come in and ruin my little setup. So I will run some sounds through these. That's pretty much it. The summon mixer, there's an MPC X over here, which I haven't been using. I've been inside the box a little more. And I'm hybrid, so I'm not saying that digitals were here. Let's go into where you can find these things and a couple of reasons why I chose them. And then the ones that I did not choose, some honorable shared. This is definitely gonna be a problem for you. I know some people in their own homes, they might wanna get a power conditioner, but I got one that if anything happens outside and there's a spike, it's gonna protect my hardware because you're spending, a grip if you're investing in this gear. And I want to thank you, Shane. It's definitely shea butter, but I also have an esthetician, a besthetician, actually, the facial fairy. She jumps in the chat sometimes, but if y'all are in the New York City area, I'll definitely throw y'all that way because I get help. It's not just genetics. It's not just shea butter. The shea butter shaman will tell you who can hook up your skin. So let's look online right now. Having the sound spread is crazy, but it works. All your favorite records had that sound spread. So I'm gonna go into the purple series first. The reason I chose this, so I was reading, like I said, lots of time spent trying to figure out what would be the best box to put all these 500 series modules in. So I knew I didn't want to get something smaller. If you look at, like, say, we look at Nave, right? They have a 10 slot. I forget exactly what was the determining factor in not going with them, but I think it was because, like I said, I was reading, and I found that they might have a little bit of noise, and I mean, user mileage may vary, right? I went with the 10 slot because I knew what I wanted. I thought I had an R6 here. So let's just say Rupert Nave, they have a 10 slot and they have a 6 slot chassis. So what I did was I was going for more. I looked at an 8 slot. I forget which one. There was one, but there's a cheaper one. I think it's a Fredenstein that was said to be good. But if you get something that has the power supply inside of the box, there might be some noise. The ones that do well with the box inside are maybe a West Audio. The Rupert Nave said, I mean, from what I read, it's hit or miss, but the purple was said to be really good. If you put your if the power supply is outside the box, it might not take up as much space, but like that's neither here nor there. I was just really concerned about noise. So like I said, I got the Furman because my electricity is dirty. That's actually why I titled that single I dropped, the little dancey joint, Dirty Electricity, is because I had to figure out how to clean that up. So part of my neighbors, if you can hear them, I went with the tape series because I wanted a little bit of dirt. I mean, the preamp's probably gonna give you a little saturation. You mess with Nave, but this has a little bit of extra texture to it. So I did also get the Nave compressor because in case I'm keeping this clean, there might again be a little bit of Nave color. That's based on their transformers, their hardware. I have the Alacia up here, and I did not choose them. I went with the slightly cheaper EQ. This has pentiometer. I'm saying it wrong. Let's just say there are notches or clicks when you turn the knobs on these. Alacia, they're said to be really good. I don't have any experience with them. I just have experience with the plugins, which, you know, I think plugins, they're plugins. Like, what do I really set them against to say what their sound is? Other plugins, I mean, most plugins are gonna sound like how you use them, right? As far as I know, you're not gonna find much deviation from one plugin to the next. I think if you're trying to do a shootout, they're all gonna, all right, in my opinion, they're all gonna sound similar because I use them to get a particular sound. So I think, like, my personal bias, it's gonna sound like the way I want to use it. Does that make sense to you? Like, I'm trying to get a certain sound. In a blind test, there's so many other factors, of course, but I thought they were sufficient. Let's just say sufficient enough to put on the list, and they got a lot of good reviews. But they're also stereo, this compressor and equalizer here. So if you're looking for something that is, you know, that's gonna that's not going to cause the phase issue I was talking about by having to tweak 2 different channels, or you just don't want to tweak your channels to match them every time you use them. Like if you hit one of those knobs by accident, you're doing it over. I would suggest getting a stereo module, but that's if you're running stereo channels through. So what I'm doing, most part, I'm going to be mixing through this. It's like a 2-bus, or it is in effect a 2-bus. I'll show you how to set it up in Studio One in just a moment. But I definitely went with this big. There was nothing else I wanted to use. There is a rack unit, and I saw it on Reverb. It costs more. So that's one of the reasons you go with a 5 to come with their own power supply. So you can put them in one box, run power through all of them, and not have to take up too much space. Because as you saw, that isn't light desk, and I don't have to worry about going too far over to the other side of the desk just to like try to mess with some of the knobs. And what I thought was, if it's one power supply unit, that also stops me from having to figure out where the other sources of dirty electricity are coming from, or running more cables through here, because in this New York City apartment, there aren't many outlets. This is an older building. So, like I said, these are like honorable mentions. Of course, I did go with that tape series emulator 542. I think this was the one I chose. No, it's not. So here was the Rupert Nave equalizer, which is said to be good. But like, there are there are 2 times I would want to use an equalizer, pre and post. So I'm bringing something in, I'm thinking I want to like subtract certain frequencies and whatnot. I was gonna go with another one afterwards, but I felt like I would end up doing too much. I was actually trying to. So there's a little bit of a bump that I want to add either to the highs or the lows, like depending on what I'm going for, and I can do that. Some of these, there was another one. Let me show you. Let me show you this honorable mention. Um, I probably have. This is like the next level EQ. This is the EQ to end all EQs in a 500 series, right? The Zal EQ is like 1800. You might be, as a matter of fact, let's look on reverb real quick. I believe it goes over two stacks. If it's here, they changed this. I don't even remember reverb looking like this. I haven't been on in a while. So look, 2266. Did they say that's used? Did they say it comes with a warranty? So it's boxed. Doesn't mean new. The reason why I liked it is because you can have parametric, you can have a shelf, you can switch between like closer bands, and you have way more band. I think this had 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, high mids, low, and then that's like a sub. Unless, you know what I'm saying, this will do it. But I mean, look at the prices for nah. So that's 2666, right? We look back at this wish list. And you can find some of these used. Like these, I actually did buy these used. Got them a little lower. Let's say like 7. You can find these for like 700 each. So 1400 as opposed to 2000. But just to say, you can already see you can get 3 for the price of that one. Or like your SPL Big, the sub, you can get what's the other one? The other EQ, the one I have, the SSL Fusion EQ for 500. Like I'm just saying, you do the maths. The series ideas, I think this was the one I had just like thrown mad stuff on. Of course, you're gonna need some cables. Yeah, there's solid state. So solid state, you know, SSL has their own. Black Lion was said to be a real good compressor. Alessia's compressor was really good. So if you're looking at other ones, I'll tell you Cranborn and West Audio are 2 like really high favorites. I didn't read any negative reviews about. West Audio is really dope because you can what's the name? I'm missing a word, but the point I'm making is like you can plug it up, you can connect it to your DAW. You have a cable that runs into a USB cable, mini USB, I believe, a USB cable that you can control and recall your settings with. So if you're gonna use your DAW like I'm doing, if you're in a hybrid setup, you can control the EQ, the compressor. All right, like if you talking about got money, let me not say that. People be trying to look people up online. Nah, but Shane has fine tastes. We'll say that. I think she's just like the rest of us. We all have champagne taste. The Cranborn, let's look those up real quick. Cranborn 500 series. They have 2 racks. Let's go back to Sweetwater. Quality of the box you want. The digital connection for West Audio, which I'll just pull up next. And that ADAT connection for it doesn't say it. It probably just said it right there. If you're looking at getting, I would think that if you saw that rack up top, if you were going to use ADAT connections like I did, that rack up top, you bust this 500 series. So look at what you need. All of these are mono channels up here, right? So you have your 8s, and then some of them also look into this. Like there are some sends and returns or a send and return on some of the boxes you look up. I didn't figure out how this one that I have works, the Purple 10, because I don't need it. I'm not sending it to anything else. I don't have any more gear I want to run the audio through. But API is pretty much, if I remember correctly, the originator of the 500 series rack, the lunchbox. And API, obviously, if you're familiar with audio, really, really great gear, right? SSL, API, Nave, you're gonna know those. You're gonna see those in big studios. If you've ever been in a major studio, you've seen these names, you've seen their gear. So Between API and Purple 10, I think those got the best reviews as far as no sound or interference with your audio. And Nave, Cranborn, West Audio, they're really good runner-ups. But those also, look, they cost. I think it's worth it though. Like if you look into what you're getting out of these, it's worth it. I think the Nave, when you're actually paying a little more for the name, that's just my opinion. But West Audio, which did we just pull that up? This Cranborn. Was I looking at West Audio? Did I pull one up? I wanted to show you. Here's the Fredenstein. Like I said, there's all right, but theirs is a little bit cheaper. So if you're trying to save money, just make sure that you test it. I don't think I thought I did. Didn't I pull it up? Let's go to Sweetwater, West Audio, and it's right here, right? That's it. Take me to it. More details. More details. Yeah. And which one were you looking at? What were you looking at for a 500 series? And what was the purpose? So you see these are stereos. So technically you're not paying that much. If you look at this and you see it's over a stack, you're not paying that much for these modules because like I said, Nave, if it's 700 used for one of these compressors, this is 1400. So brand new for basically the same price as the used gear that I got. You're also seeing they have a demo here. Sweetwater is really good about their warranty and whatnot. But main point, like I said, yeah, it's mini USB, and you have ample controls. I thought I kind of built this out in my head, looked up, got all my details, made my wish list, and because of what I wanted to run together, I chose not to go with West Audio. If I did go with West Audio, I would want to only have West Audio. I think Brito in the Discord, he got West Audio gear and he loves it. So I think it's worth it, but look at what you want to do. If you don't care about digital, you might be able to get away with not buying this tier of gear, right? Like the SSL equalizer. We'll go look at my wish list and see how much that was. Like I said, it's normally like $550. Here it is. Yeah, $550. I think they had it for 500, or I saw it in a couple places. Money. Somebody might have just lightly used it. I would just suggest looking at Reverb to see if you can get a little bit off, unless you want to buy everything new. And if you do, I think most of these places that y'all are familiar with are good. But I was gonna say I speak to my Sweetwater rep. Yeah, here and there. Yeah, here and there. He'll call me, or I'll call and ask a couple questions. And one of the tips I give you, like, yo, what's up, MH? Appreciate you joining my Aries brother. Happy New Year to you, Aries season. If you're gonna ask any questions, also ask like, yo, how much do I need to pay you, or what do I need to buy to save some money? I can recoup some dollars if I get a couple things together, right? Not gonna say that everybody's gonna honor your request, but I do think it's worth it to ask. I was Xyenz Fyxion. I'm not gonna tell y'all too much. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might think I got powers. But the solar flare, the solar eclipse, and the earthquake that I have, I think you know what's funny? Y'all might even be hearing that, and I wouldn't know because I have listened to me blabber on about it. I gotta double check OBS, make sure. Yeah, that's muted. So let's say this is the sub. Pardon me. All right, so let's bypass it, and let's make sure you're listening to it. So let me know if you hear it. We're just going with a C. That sucks. So it's only going to come on the right side, but you'll get over it. Right? So I hope that wasn't too loud, because I know I'll turn this mic down. So that was bypassed, and this is with the sub. I should make it so I can hear it, right? Now, you tell me if you heard a difference. You know what I mean? Last spoon bender. That's crazy. Oh, it's echo. Oh, yeah. You know why? Because hold up. All right. So I should be coming in the left channel, right? Pause. You should hear my voice on the left, and then boom, the sub is on the right. Right. So that's it. Bypassed. My bad, y'all. That's with the. Changing y'all back. Yeah, so anyway, as long as there's no echo, and you're a little bit behind me, so when you start telling me, I'll probably be done. Tell me what you heard. What was the difference? So In tweaking it, I normally just go through the DAW and put something down, some MIDI notes, and play around like that. Mag EQ, y'all saw that on Plugin Alliance. You know, they like most of these, they have plugins for most of these. The subharmonic synth, I think, yeah, BX subsynth, right? On Plugin Alliance, they pretty much do the same thing, right? But as we all know, with analog gear comes like small deviations because of the electricity, and then also I'm never gonna get the same settings twice, right? I'm only gonna be able to play with these settings and get to something that I like, because there's no it's not potented. There are no steps in the knobs, you know. Pause. So if I was trying to go to Unity, right, I have to listen to the sound. So I'll run a sine synth, a sine wave through the through the audio hardware. And then also, to a lesser degree, I was messing with the analog heat. I do have it. I actually like this for playing with the MPC X. I feel like I get into different modes when I get the different gear, and I think it's just because of my biases. But I love my sound paint, right? You know what I mean? This is sound paint is life. This is actually one of my favorite sounds because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I just celebrated my born day, so yeah, I'm telling y'all how old I am. Being a Game Boy is a collection of sounds, you know, chip tune inspired. Um, where's my audio? There's chip tune inspired sounds. Let me get my other window here, please. There we go. Yeah, so if you grew up playing, no, don't want to do that. If you grew up playing the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, they had different chips, and I know MH, you into that. You know, you were a synth and video game nerd like me. It's really cool if you find some recreation that uh, that gets the soul, if dare I say, gets the soul right. You know who has good synths for that? Plogue. Um, Plogue has something for everybody. But I was saying that the Game Boy made by I'm just trying to figure out my sounds right quick. Figure out where the audio is going. What they call Game Boy out of like different chips, out different Game Boys, and just recreated a lot of. Sometimes I wanna switch the window just so y'all know what I'm doing. I'm in my mix window. I love how they just like determine what window's gonna stay on top. Like I don't want you to see this right now. Anyway, just so you know where my eyes are, I'm trying to get the MacBook. Sometimes the audio will just change, like the device will change. I should say reset to default, please, because that's probably what the problem was. All right, so everything was muted. I know I unmuted it, and now I'm still going through the mix bus. So normally what I got to do is, there we go. I just go through the plugins and check which is which. There should be a preset for that. Really? Why are you doing that? What's the input for this? Y'all know? Y'all remember? Is it P31? So, yeah, MH, you said Plogue is the best one out, and what did I get from them? They have. I'm not gonna get myself sidetracked here, but I am gonna look it up. They have like a Commodore, I think. SoundPaint does too, but you know, SoundPaint is using samples. The reason that I mess with them so heavy is, where are you? Oh, that's analog heat. All right, so if that's, you're not on. All right, it's bypass. All right, I'm good. So Plogue, I got is it F? I think it's FFC. Let's open that up, because they have sounds for. Yep, this is your Super Nintendo chip, and if you're anything like me, yeah, those are like really nostalgic sounds in this. It's actually sample based too. The other chip joint that they have that has like 8 different chips in it, the different video game or computer chips inside of this synthesizer. that they have. Like that one, you have a lot more control. This you can like drag in. So Av McCree actually showed this a while back. You can drag in. I got noise now. Yeah. The reason I got noise is it will cancel out my mic a little bit. So let me know if it's too low. Wow, that's crazy. That's what's up. I'm sorry, these windows kind of distracted me. I don't like having too much open. So, bang, bang. Yeah, I like that. All right. Back to Studio One. Like I said, Plogue has, what is it called? I can look it up. Because I love y'all. I like showing y'all my nerd side. Like, I don't normally just like talking just because I want to make sure that everybody has a piece of the conversation, you know what I mean? Basically 2-tracking, yes. And if I'm gonna start creating, I don't always need to have this on, but I kind of like to mix the editing at the time, for the most part, be the final result. Dumping, like it's just like 1 or 2 synths and, you know, just put some drums down real quick, not even think about tweaking it. But for the most part, that's why I have the template, even though I don't always open up all of those like EQ and compressor plugins. They might not be armed, might be a few, like something on the bus, something like this, right? Like I'm gonna keep that mix chain to just kind of mix through. If I was going to start from scratch, I still already have an idea of what the sound is I'm going for, so it might be cleaner. Like the sound I have right now is because I wanted it to sound a little dirty. Speaking of dirt, where is Dirt? This is for Dirt. Is Dirt in here? I ain't see him say anything yet. Yeah, there he is. He said this is grown man money. Yeah, so like I said, first off, appreciate all y'all joining. The Plogue joint, if you don't do that, Shane, you're gonna mess up my whole stream. There's gonna be fire in the chat. If you're sick of me bringing up drums and not having them done, just throw some fire signs in the chat. The Commodore, like these are all built on different joints. So like I know, like I said, this is Super Nintendo, but I would definitely, I'm telling you to go through them. I wanted to try out Chip Speech. They sometimes have these things on sale. If you know me, I'm like team never pay full price. I think I believe in paying. I'm selling stuff. I believe in paying. But if you want some of that like robotic talk, but I do have other things I could use for that. And I'm actually more into vocoder, so I'd rather, here we go. Dirt finna go Roman Reigns. Oh my God, yeah. Speaking of Studio One, yeah, and thanks for the question anyway, because I like to explain the process. Allows me to connect with y'all, of course, but also make sure I'm making sense. So for getting that synth, I'm not making anything from scratch, and we started kind of late. You know, we all got big woman or big boy jobs in the morning. I had this, and I kind of like the loop that I made. I can play this portion with no dirt. This is just the loop that I came with. I'll probably flesh it out when I get back into creating mode. So here, without further ado. Yeah, I really like that, right? So the reason that it sounds crispy is because when I'm running it through this chain, I'm just looking for particular things to jump out. Gonna have to name that drum pack Detox. Not y'all both saying it's Detox at the same time. That means there's truth behind that joke. Yeah, what I'm saying is it was supposed to come out and it's never coming out. Nah. I have a hardware chain now. Like I have a reason. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this to be in my hands. What I like to do is I'll bounce out whatever it is and play it, and that'll give me the reference point when I come back to it. But if let's say we solo the keys, I was listening to it and made some tweaks along the way. There's no way I can really bypass one of these modules in the chain, but the width is probably the easiest thing to let you hear the difference too. Joint was mad loud, right? So the Mini V, y'all know that's Arturia. That's what I use for the bass. I actually was using the sub a few times in a very similar fashion, but sometimes I can recreate it. But like I said, if you run it through here, you get the idea. I mean, y'all know how to mix, and if you don't, I mean, that's those details are somewhere else. Where's Gary? Gary didn't join us tonight because he has some questions for Studio One. Thank you, Shane. Bass has become one of my favorite elements of music. Like when I first started, I could not for the life of me. I couldn't save my life to write a bass line. Like my brain just didn't understand it. Thankfully, after like listening to music and talking to musicians and really just practicing, understanding where bass fits and what its role is, I was able to get a little better. So let's not go to bass. I'll just use guitar. Was or like a range of differences you might have heard, but one thing it does, it has like this stage presence thing where it'll feel like I like to use this on mostly the highs, so you'll hear like the lows might be cut out of that, you know what I mean? I don't think that it needs to spread the lows. Like, I don't believe in stereo 808s unless there's some type of effect, but the point is like the bass sounds better when it's solidified for the most part in the center. But you know, you have to tweak it to whatever you're looking for. Sometimes you want your bass to be some type of rhythmic element, and it might make sense for it to like move around. For me, I like the idea of creating a home, but it doesn't mean that the higher frequencies of the bass instrument can't be further out on the sides, right? So we'll play around with that and see what that feels like. So you could hear the whole thing being spread right now. So then you can also, like I said, like you can lift that. I guess it's really a high pass. Is it? No, it's a low pass. So the low can pass through without being affected. So the low pass filter raise, and it doesn't have frequencies on here. It just lets you go up until you hear something different. So you hear like the bass is more centered. And the funny thing is, since I moved all these knobs, I have no idea where they really were. So it's just gonna be wherever it's at. Boom, boom. Yeah. So the funny thing is I forgot I had the Game Boy muted. I didn't even remember that sound being in there. Um the last time I was messing with it. Yeah, like I forgot what was I doing? I might have been playing with the sub. Um but just like I wanted a funky bass, you know what I mean? And then I just kind of built around that. Um so I don't really think in terms of call and response, but I think because the music I listen to, like when Hans Zimmer said it. That was the first person I heard talk about a call and response. I like how he says it's like a it's like a question, right? I think it was that masterclass series when he said there's like a dodgy question, right? When you hear like there's a little bit of tension. When you listen to music, it's like there's the back and forth, and I think that's what's missing from music nowadays, or not even just music, but I think the way we interact with music is there's less of a communal aspect to it. Like people aren't sharing it or sharing experiences with the music that give you that, you know, revolving feeling of I'm giving, you're taking, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? But anyway, like neither here nor there, the idea of going up and down, it gives you a sense of tension and then resolve. That's really what you're looking for in music, right? If you're going to the seventh note, we're stuck. It's tense. That that one note, that little blip gave you some peace. It relieves the tension, right? So it's like the way that I thought about how I processed. I was already making music with a sense to give some type of resolve. Like the way I thought about it was like I want to feel like I went up and then I came back down, and it was, you know, a journey along the way. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic of 500 series, but all of these things just help me tell the story. Is everything cool? I just saw a blip anyway. I am an Aries just like you, my brother. You know what's funny? It makes me think that Rick is one too. When they kept on asking about the portal gun. The more you ask me, the more I don't want to do it. That's not exactly why you haven't got any drums, but drums by the start of the summer, most definitely, because it's actually on my radar. Because you might see that I'm back in this realm. I have been doing other things, life things, dad things. So yeah, I'm on top of the Black Magic Lab stuff right now. You see these? Like, look up at the top of the screen, bro. What is that up there? When did I drop Smooth Tings? What was the other joint? Yeah, my presets for Serum. Like, when's the last time you saw any of these presets? Like the Chord Pack, Smooth Tings, and House Party. I'm like, I ain't dropping projects. These are old. These are old now. I love them. I did drop these sample packs, which y'all can get on the blackmagiclab.com. You should go there. We dropped a 100 pack. AshaKole and I dropped a 100 pack, and I'm doing my best to be on top of Black Magic Lab, dropping new products, streaming more, connecting with the people. Anytime I can be graced with your presence, anytime y'all can bless me with some type of energy and we can, you know, vibe out on the nerd stuff, I love it. I'm here for it. Anything else, like I said, please ask questions, connect with me, let me know what y'all want to do. Like I'm down for challenges. Like the blind producer, it's the Blind Man Samurai, like that joint was dope. Whenever how long ago was that? That was probably 2022 when Kia was the one who suggested that. We have heard a thing, but like I'm down for that. I normally be talking to myself in here while I'm producing, you know, calling myself an idiot for making some choice, or, you know, bad mouthing my computer for not working properly. But anyway, like that's all I really had. Like I said, since it's kind of in the evening, it's kind of late. Anyway, that's where I am, and I'm a dip off. But I'm glad that I was able to get y'all in here. I'm glad that I was able to shed some light on the pieces that I chose and the thought process behind them. I like my stuff dirty. You know what I mean? Dirt one know what I'm talking about. Like I like it dirty. You got to be able to feel it, and you know I think texture really drives home that feeling. At least depends on what you're going for. You know the style of music I make. Y'all heard me playing some of the stuff earlier. Even the smooth stuff has a little bit of grit to it. But it's all about the feeling. It's all about that vibe. Know what I mean? I remember why that it ain't jumping. That's just too loud. I don't know what I unmuted. I unmuted everything just so y'all could hear where I was, like what I was feeling at the moment. But whatever I recorded, it definitely doesn't sound as loud and crazy as that does. And I love those drums. Like you gotta make sure when you're tweaking any of these through your mix chain that you let the, do I want to say the loudest part? Let's just say things shine through. I'm not gonna get into any like unmasking and mixing plugins and techniques, but I do look for wherever the, what do we want to call it? I look for the peaks, right? My baby don't mess around. Let's look for right here. I am going to turn this down. Hopefully that works. I probably need to make 2 of them because this was stupid loud. Yeah, right. So, you see how red this is? This is bass heavy, obviously, right? And I don't know about y'all, but I was using Span. Span is free. If you want, you can take a look at it. You see all of these peaks, right? So, and MH say he's looking for drums. You're a jerk. I appreciate you letting me know to switch my screen. I'm showing you things that you can't see. So let's say I'm gonna drag it over here so it's not behind the chat. And make sure that the loop is in the right place. So when I'm mixing, it's helpful to have both your ears open and your eyes open, right? Sometimes I'm using both, sometimes I'm picking one over the other. But 2 things I want to point out. I was saying that you can either use Span or like I like Vision, because Vision has it's like Insight 2, but for whatever reason Isotope Insight 2 is not working properly on my computer. And for me, obviously if it's not working properly, I don't want to touch it. I took it off. Vision, like they had on Plugin Boutique. You have it's 4x, right? Like you can see all of the spectrograph waveforms. Like you can see the stereo. First off, this is kind of wild, right? This is actually my personality. Like when you want to know science fiction, this is him. This reminds me of, I never watched SpongeBob, but this is what I think Doodle Bob is like. So like you see these peaks. Normally this is going to be my keys right here. Like my chords are going, you know, wherever. So I can see the piano. I can slightly hear it. The piano jumping up right here, right? Here are my drums. I know what to look for. This is rhythmic, right? This is 2 bars. So when you see these hard hitting kicks, you know what to look for. My point was just like when you're listening to them and you run them through the gear, I want to accentuate what the most beautiful, appealing, you know, strong points of each instrument or channel. I want what those are. For me, I'm like, how do I accentuate what's there, and also remove what is weak about it, or make room for another strong point or another beautiful component from a different instrument. Like that's what I'm looking at when I'm doing this. I might solo and let whatever bus or whatever track run through here, but it's helpful to have, like, say you want your limiter on, right? You want your compressors, what you want to use. It's helpful to have those on, like I was saying to Ant earlier, throughout the whole process, because if I start mixing and it's starting to sound different, I'm gonna hate it. Or I might miss something. So when I have my limiter on and it sounds crazy, like it sounds crazy loud right now, like I said, I know I just unmuted everything. So the problem might be coming from the keys. At least it's not a problem. I just know I'm not gonna have this loud, because right now it goes from the rack into God particle. No, I'm trying to. Thank you. I could just click it right there. Right, so you see how loud this is? It's going through there crazy already. 10 decibels too loud. That's foolish. I'm not gonna do that. If you're running anything, where to find, you don't know where to look for to take out if it's coming through any of these channels hot. So like, yeah, I leave it at unity just to make sure nothing is running above that. And also I normally have all my inputs dropped. It depends on where I am. Like these, you see this, like my standard is dropping it by 6 decibels, because at any given moment I could raise God particle, I could raise the rack gear, I could raise whatever. Like I have some Fusion plugins because I like to act like I have the SSL Fusion, so I use the plugins up there. It's just to put me in the mode of a mix chain, or I would say not a mix chain, a mixing console. But as you can see, that's what I named what my actual mixing process is, console. It's funny. This is the limiter. I did this wrong. This is just for this. Normally these, like the Fusion plugins, will be here because console. I named it console, but no, my bad. This is going to the console, so this is the console. I wasn't tripping. So I just couldn't see the bottom of that window. See what I mean? The purple joint. That's the finisher, right? The polish and all that. And then you see I have standard clip up here, which I don't think I was using much if I did use it all. Anyway, that's just a preview into what I'm doing. I only have it at 10%. A lot of these things I like to use minimally because when you go ham, like trying that analog heat, you can get some really distorted sounds. Like, well, what is it? Rakim Microphone Fiend. Like, you know, that harsh sound like when he's spitting. Anyway, yeah, that's just me going on a mini ramble rant. I really like the process of creating something from nothing, really just a conduit. You know what I mean? The universe pours this music, the ideas, and I get to use my hands, my brain to kind of funnel some of the ideas through and just share them with people. I love that process. I love the creation process. Anyway, create. Magicians, you are creators. You are you are magic. Do what you got to do to share what your magic is with the world. I'm gonna see more from y'all. I will catch up with y'all on the next one. See y'all the next time you click on my face. And please drop something in the chat if you liked what you saw, if you didn't like what you saw, if you wanted to know more about something, you want to know more about my process. I'm not a guru of anything. Like I'm like you. I like things and I learn about them. But I appreciate y'all joining me. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your night or day or whenever you're watching this, if you're catching the replay. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.